The matte black Genesis GV80 gleamed under the morning sun like a predator waiting to pounce. Zara Okafor didn't think twice. She positioned herself against the luxury SUV, flipped her phone to selfie mode, and hit that live button with the confidence of someone who had absolutely no business being there. "Good morning, my Seoul family." Her voice rang out, bright and unapologetic. "Just grabbing my morning coffee before another busy day. You know how it is when you're building an empire." She laughed, that practiced influencer laugh that had taken her months to perfect, and did a little spin against the car. The comments started flooding in immediately. Heart eyes. Fire emojis. Someone asking where she got her outfit. What she didn't see was the man emerging from the cafe behind her, flanked by two others in dark suits. What she didn't see was how everyone on the street suddenly found reasons to look away. What she didn't see was danger until it was standing right in front of her, eyes like winter in Seoul, cold and unforgiving. "What?" Min-Jun said, his voice low enough to make her stomach drop. "Are you doing with my car?" The live video was still running. 3,000 people watching in real time as Zara's confident smile faltered for just a second before she recovered, switching to Korean with that slight accent that usually charmed people. "Oppa, relax. I'm just giving your beautiful car some free promotion. You should be thanking me." His associates moved closer, but Min-Jun raised one hand, still staring at Zara like she was a puzzle he couldn't quite figure out. The tattoo on his neck peeked out from his collar, some kind of dragon that seemed to move when he tilted his head. "You're either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid." Zara felt her heart hammering but kept her voice steady, switching to English now because fear made her default to her first language. "In Lagos, we call this packaging, honey. Fake it till you make it. You should try it sometime. You look like you could use some joy in your life." For a moment, nobody moved. Then something impossible happened. The corner of Min-Jun's mouth twitched. Not quite a smile, but close enough to make his associates exchange confused glances. "Give me your number," he said. "Excuse me?" "For damages. You used my property without permission." But there was something in his eyes now, something that made Zara's skin prickle with awareness. She rattled off her number, ended the live stream, and walked away on legs that felt like jelly. Behind her, she heard one of his associates say something in rapid Korean about that foreign girl, but Min-Jun's response was too quiet to hear. By the time Zara made it back to her tiny Gashawon in Itaewon, her phone was exploding. The video had been screen-recorded and shared everywhere. 350,000 views. 20,000 new followers. And right there at the top of her notifications, Min-Jun started following you. Her fingers trembled as she researched him. 3.2 million followers. 0 personal photos. Just images at exclusive events, always in the background, always watching. The comments on his rare posts were a mix of admiration and fear. "He runs Gangnam," one said. "Underground King," said another. "Don't mess with MJ." The DM came 3 days later, simple and direct. "Dinner. This Saturday. Consider it cultural exchange." Zara stared at her bank account. 47,001 left until payday. Rent was overdue. She should say no. Every logical part of her brain screamed that this was dangerous, that men like Min-Jun didn't do anything without a reason, that she was playing with fire. She typed back, 7 p.m. "Don't be late, Oppa." Then she added a winking emoji because fear had never stopped her before, and she wasn't about to let it start now. The restaurant was the kind of place Zara had only seen in K-dramas. Private room, low lighting, a grill built into the table that probably cost more than 6 months of her rent. She'd borrowed a dress from a rental service, the kind that made her look like she belonged in places like this, and styled her natural hair in a crown braid threaded with gold accessories her mother had sent from Lagos. Min-Jun was already there when she arrived, and he looked different. Still intimidating, still wearing that aura of danger like a second skin, but there was something softer in his expression when he stood to greet her. He'd dressed down slightly, a black button-up instead of a full suit, though it probably cost more than her entire wardrobe. "You came," he said, sounding almost surprised. "You doubted me?" Zara slid into her seat, trying to remember every YouTube video she'd watched about proper Korean dining etiquette. "I'm many things, but I'm not a coward." They started with awkward formality, him ordering in quiet Korean while she tried not to stare at how his hands moved, elegant and sure. But when the meat came and she attempted to use the tongs, nearly flipping a piece onto the floor, something cracked. "Here," Min-Jun reached across, his fingers brushing hers as he took the tongs. "Like this." "Ah." Zara laughed, a real laugh this time, not her influencer one. "See, in my country, we don't suffer like this for food. Oh. We just use our hands and enjoy life." And there it was. A genuine smile from Kang Min-Jun, transforming his entire face. "You're refreshing," he said quietly. "Everyone I meet is either terrified or wants something." "Who says I don't want something?" Zara challenged, leaning forward. "I want to know why the scariest man in Seoul is having dinner with a broke content creator who lives in a room smaller than this table." The question hung between them, loaded and honest. Min-Jun set down his chopsticks and met her eyes fully for the first time. "Because when you looked at me on that street, you didn't see what everyone else sees. You saw someone you could tease. Someone who could use some joy." He paused. "You weren't wrong." Something shifted in Zara's chest. This wasn't the conversation she'd expected. "You want to know my secret?" She leaned back, gesturing at herself. "This dress? Rented. Those designer bags on my Instagram? Borrowed. That luxury apartment in my posts? I take photos in the lobby and leave. I perform every single day because this world doesn't reward honest people. It rewards people who look successful." "So you're a fraud," Min-Jun said, but there was no judgment in his voice. "I prefer the term aspiring." "And anyway, aren't you performing too?" The cold stare, the silence, the whole fear me energy. "That's a costume too, isn't it?" Nobody had ever said that to him before. Zara could see it in the way his shoulders dropped slightly, the way he reached for his water glass just to have something to do with his hands. "Maybe," he admitted. "But I don't know how to take it off." "Lucky for you," Zara grinned, "I'm an expert in transformation content." "What if I teach you?" That's how it started. One dinner turned into a proposition. Min-Jun wanted to seem approachable, less terrifying. Zara needed material, connections, and honestly, she couldn't stop thinking about the way he'd smiled. They exchanged numbers properly this time, not for damages but for something neither of them wanted to name yet. The next week was a blur of transformation. Zara dragged Min-Jun through Hongdae's streetwear shops, pulling oversized hoodies and designer sneakers while he protested quietly, his usual associates trailing at a confused distance. She taught him about drip, about how confidence wasn't in the price tag but in how you wore it. He trusted her completely, trying on clothes he'd never have considered, letting her style him like a doll while store owners whispered and stared. In Itaewon, she took him to her favorite Nigerian restaurant. Mama Adiz nearly dropped her tray when Zara walked in with Seoul's most feared man, but Zara just grinned and ordered jollof rice and suya for two. Min-Jun ate carefully, asking questions about each dish, and when some of Zara's expat friends stopped by the table, he was just another guy, laughing at their jokes about Korean dating culture and nodding along to their complaints about visa runs. "This is the first time," he said later, as they walked along the Han River under stars that barely competed with Seoul's lights, "that people have treated me like a person. Not a reputation. Just me." Zara was doing something to his hair, trying to give it more texture, her fingers gentle against his scalp. "That's because I made them see you differently. Image is everything, Appa. You taught people to fear you. Now we're teaching them something new. What about you?" His voice was soft. "Do you see me differently now?" She paused, her hand still in his hair, and something warm bloomed in her chest. "I see you clearly," she said. "That's the difference." He posted a photo that night, something Zara had taken of him in casual clothes, actually smiling at the camera. The caption was simple, "New perspective." He tagged her. Within 2 hours, 800,000 likes. The comments went wild. Who was this version of Min-Jun? Who was the girl? Where was the usual ice-cold CEO? But somewhere in Gangnam, in a penthouse that overlooked the entire city, Han Soo-jin saw the post and felt something cold settle in her stomach. She'd known Min-Jun for 15 years. She'd built her entire adult life around the assumption that eventually, he'd see her the way she saw him. And now this girl, this nobody from nowhere, was in his photos, making him smile like Soo-jin had never managed to do. She picked up her phone and started making calls. Min-Jun's penthouse was everything Zara's Gashawon wasn't. Space, light, a view that made Seoul look like a kingdom spread at his feet. He'd invited her for dinner, and when she arrived, he was actually cooking, sleeves rolled up, hair falling into his eyes as he focused on the stove. "You cook?" Zara leaned against the counter, watching him. "I live alone. It's cook or starve." He glanced at her. "You thought I had a private chef?" "I thought you had 5 private chefs and 8 gold-plated rice." He laughed, that sound she was becoming addicted to, and plated the food. Korean dishes with small fusion twists, nothing showy but thoughtful. They ate by the window, the city spread beneath them, and for the first time since moving to Seoul, Zara felt like she could breathe. "Can I tell you something?" she said, setting down her chopsticks. "This performing thing, the Instagram life, the constant packaging. I'm exhausted. Every photo is a calculation. Every caption is strategy. I came to Seoul dreaming of making it big, but most days I'm just surviving. This, though? Right now? This is the first real thing I've felt in months." Min-Jun reached across the table and took her hand. His palm was warm, calloused in unexpected places. "I built an empire on people's fear. Respect through intimidation. It's effective but it's lonely. You've shown me that there's another way. That maybe being seen as human isn't weakness." "We're quite the pair," Zara said softly. "The girl who fakes everything and the man who feels nothing." "Felt," he corrected. Past tense. His thumb traced circles on her palm. "You changed that." He stood, walked to a drawer, and returned with a small box. Inside was a bracelet, custom-made, with an adinkra symbol intertwined with a Korean character. "Sankofa," Zara breathed, recognizing the African symbol. "Look back to move forward. An new beginning." Min-Jun's voice was rough. "2 worlds. 1 story." Zara was about to respond when the doorbell rang. Min-Jun frowned. He wasn't expecting anyone. When he opened the door, Soo-jin stood there in a traditional hanbok updated with modern cuts, every inch of her screaming old money and social power. "Min-Jun SSI," she said in Korean, her eyes sliding past him to where Zara sat frozen at the table. "We have the Lee family dinner tonight. You remember." Her gaze landed on Zara properly now, and there was ice in her smile. "I didn't realize you had company." "Soo-jin, this isn't a good time." But Soo-jin was already inside, moving like she owned the space, and maybe in some ways she did. 15 years of history gave her that confidence. She looked at Zara with an expression that was polite on the surface and cutting underneath. "I don't believe we've met. I'm Han Soo-jin. Min-Jun and I have known each other since university." Zara stood, switching to Korean because she wouldn't give this woman the satisfaction of thinking she didn't belong. "Zara Okafor. Nice to meet you." "Okafor," Soo-jin repeated, like she was tasting something unpleasant. "How exotic. Tell me, how did you meet Min-Jun? I'm always curious about his new friends." The word friends was poisonous. Zara felt Min-Jun tense beside her, but she kept her voice steady. "I used his car as a prop for Instagram. He was surprisingly cool about almost murdering me." Soo-jin's laugh was crystal, sharp enough to cut. "How charming." Min-Jun does collect interesting people. She turned to him. Darling, about tonight. The Lees are expecting us both. You know how important this connection is for business. I'll handle the Lees, Min-Jun said, his voice back to that cold CEO tone Zara hadn't heard in days. You should go, Soo-jin. For a moment, something ugly flashed across Soo-jin's perfect face. Then she composed herself, smiled at them both, and headed for the door. But she paused at the threshold, looking back at Zara. A word of advice, from one woman to another. This world, Min-Jun's world, it's not kind to outsiders. Especially temporary ones. After she left, the warmth from earlier had evaporated. Zara gathered her things quickly. I should go. Don't let her get to you. She's right though, isn't she? Zara's voice was small. I'm performing again. Playing dress up in borrowed clothes, pretending I belong in penthouses. What am I even doing here? You're being yourself. That's what you're doing here. Min-Jun caught her hand. Soo-jin doesn't speak for me. She never has. But as Zara rode the subway back to Itaewon, squeezed between exhausted office workers and late-night revelers, she couldn't shake Soo-jin's words. Temporary. Outsider. She looked at her reflection in the dark window and saw a girl playing pretend, and for the first time, it hurt. The messages started that night. Anonymous numbers, all saying variations of the same thing. Go back to Africa. You don't belong here. Stay away from what isn't yours. But the one that made Zara's blood run cold came with attachments. Photos of her real Gashawon. Screenshots of her overdue rent notices. Her visa documents. Someone had been digging, collecting ammunition. The final message was simple, one call to immigration. That's all it takes. Leave him alone. Zara sat on her narrow bed, surrounded by the props of her fake life, and felt everything crumbling. Her phone buzzed. Min-Jun calling. She almost didn't answer. Zara, I know Soo-jin got to you. Don't listen to her. It's not just her. Zara's voice cracked. Someone's threatening me. They have information about my visa, my living situation, everything. They're telling me to leave you alone or they'll get me deported. The silence on the other end was dangerous. Then Min-Jun's voice, cold and sharp as a blade, forward me everything. I'll handle it. You can't handle this. Zara stood, pacing her tiny room. This is my life, my safety. I'm not some damsel in your drama. I'm a girl who's barely surviving in this city, who's one wrong move from being sent home, who's been pretending so hard for so long that I don't even know what's real anymore. Maybe Soo-jin's right. Maybe I'm just temporary. You're not temporary to me. But I am though. Look at us, Appa. Really look. You're in a penthouse in Hanam. I'm in a Gashawon in Itaewon that's smaller than your bathroom. You run businesses I can't even name. I rent designer bags for Instagram photos. We're from different worlds. Then we'll build a new world. His voice softened. Meet me. Please. Let me show you something. Zara wanted to say no. Every survival instinct screamed at her to protect herself, to run before she got hurt worse. But there was something in his voice, a vulnerability that matched her own fear. Where? Namsan Tower. 30 minutes. The night air was cool as Zara stood at the overlook, soul spread beneath her like a million promises, most of them lies. Min-Jun arrived looking different again, not the CEO and not the casual version she'd created, but something in between. Just a man, tired and honest. I've been thinking about what you said, he started. About how we're performing. You're right. I built this image of being untouchable because I thought it would keep me safe. But it just kept me alone. He moved closer. Then you crashed into my life, literally using my car for clout, and you saw through everything. You made me laugh. You made me feel like maybe I could be someone other than what everyone expects. Min-Jun. I'm changing my business. Going legitimate. Tech investments, cultural exchange programs, things that don't require fear. I'm tired of being who I was. And I know it's fast, and I know it's terrifying, but Zara, you make me want to be better than my reputation. Zara felt tears burning her eyes. I'm scared. I'm so scared. Of being exposed, of not being enough, of loving someone I might lose. In Nigeria, I'd be the girl who moved to Korea and failed. Here, I'm always going to be the black girl who doesn't quite fit. Where do I belong? With me. Min-Jun took her hands. I can't promise it'll be easy. I can't promise Sujin won't try to make trouble or that people won't talk. But I can promise honesty. No more performing. Just us, figuring it out together. What if I stop pretending and nobody likes what they see? Then they never deserved to see you in the first place. He cupped her face gently. Be real with me. Let me be real with you. That's all I'm asking. Zara thought about her mother in Lagos, about the vision board in her tiny room, about every carefully curated photo and caption. She thought about how exhausting it was to be perfect, how lonely it felt to be loved for a lie. And she thought about Min-Jun's smile, the real one, and how it felt like coming home. Okay, she whispered. No more performing. He kissed her then, soft and sure, and Seoul sparkled below them like it was celebrating. The next morning, Zara sat in her goshawan and opened Instagram. Her fingers hovered over the delete button for her carefully curated highlights, all those fake luxury moments. Then she hit record on a new video. Hey family, she said, and her voice was shaking but steady. Real talk time. Most of what you've seen on this account has been packaging. Borrowed clothes, rented locations, strategic angles. I've been selling you a dream while living in a room that's basically a closet. I came to Seoul with big dreams and I'm still chasing them, but I'm tired of pretending I've already caught them. So from now on, you're getting real Zara. The struggles, the small victories, the truth. Some of you will leave, and that's okay. But for those who stay, thank you for accepting the real me. She posted it and watched the follower count start dropping. 50, 100, 500. But the comments that came in were different. Supportive. Grateful. Real. 3 months later, Zara sat in Gwangjang market with Min-Jun, eating bindiadik and laughing as sauce dripped down his chin. He'd cut his hair shorter, was wearing jeans and a hoodie she'd picked out, and smiled at strangers who recognized him with something like warmth. Her channel had shifted to Real Seoul Living, showing the actual immigrant experience, and while her numbers were smaller, her community was strong. Still filming everything? Min-Jun asked, watching her snap a photo of their food. Some moments deserve to be captured, Zara said, then switched to Pidgin. Even the real Walla, you know? He didn't understand the words but he understood her tone, and that was enough. Around them, Seoul moved in its endless rhythm, and for the first time, Zara felt like she was moving with it instead of chasing it. You know what I learned, she said, looking at him over her phone. Seoul didn't teach me how to be perfect. It taught me how to be brave enough to be myself. Min-Jun reached across and took her hand, that custom bracelet catching the market lights. 2 worlds, 1 story. It wasn't easy. Sujin still watched from a distance, bitter but retreating. People still stared when they walked together. Money was still tight, and cultural differences still created misunderstandings. But they were facing it together, no masks, no performances. Just 2 people who'd crashed into each other's lives and decided that real was better than perfect, and love was worth the risk of being seen. If you've made it this far in their story, drop a comment below telling me what you think about Zara and Min-Jun's journey. Should I continue their story? Let me know. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button because trust me, there's so much more drama coming. Like this video if you believe in love that breaks boundaries, and remember, sometimes the best connections happen when we're brave enough to stop performing and start living. Soul Shine will return, but only if you want it. So tell me in the comments, what happens next?